We move to this now. South Africa is gearing up to host the 7th Global Alcohol Policy Conference, which is aimed at addressing alcohol harms. South Africa is among the top 5 countries with the riskiest drinkers in the world. The two-day event, starting on the 24th of October, will be held under the theme Investing in People Before Profit, building momentum towards the Framework Convention on Alcohol Control. For more on this, I am joined by Bongiwe Ndondo, who is the South African Alcohol Policy Alliance Board Chairperson. Bongiwe, a pleasure to have you on the program this afternoon. Now, the 7th Global Alcohol Policy Conference is set to take place in Cape Town, focusing on investing in people before profit and also with this theme of building momentum towards the Framework Convention on Alcohol Control. Could you elaborate a bit further on the key themes of the conference and also the importance of addressing alcohol harms at a global level?
Thank you very much, and thank you and good afternoon to your viewers. So the Global Alcohol Conference, Policy Conference, is going to be held in Cape Town from the 24th to the 26th. It's a 3-day event. We're excited as South Africa to be hosting it for the first time. In fact, it's the first time it's hosted on Africa's soil, and it's a pleasure for South Africa to be hosting it. We are faced at a global level with an alcohol regulation policy challenge. One of the key issues that is being raised at this conference is the issue of putting people before profits, and that theme tells you that we are currently faced with the problem of regulating the alcohol industry, regulating the use of alcohol to ensure that we deliver on public health outcomes. So the theme of this conference is actually important in light of that.
So the conference. Go ahead.
One of the increasingly important areas for which the conference will be spotlighting is gender-based violence. And so again, we're going to be looking at the intersection of alcohol and alcohol use with various issues such as gender-based violence and many others. And we'll be spotlighting the importance of regulating alcohol from that perspective. We'll be looking at what policy frameworks are important. We are guided by, the policy framework that's recommended by the WHO as part of what they're calling the alcohol best buys. And in that alcohol best buys, they cite about 5 areas of policy that have been shown to be effective and have been and could be adopted by countries as a quick win to addressing some of the challenges, especially the social challenges that are presented by alcohol control.
So the conference itself emphasizes plenaries on gender-based violence, like you've mentioned, as well as alcohol pricing policies, regulating digital marketing as well of alcohol, and even more. How do these specific topics indeed contribute to the overarching goal of building momentum towards this Framework Convention on Alcohol Control?
Those intersectional issues are important because, as you know, the absence of proper alcohol control policy measures actually results in a lot of social harm that is caused by alcohol. We know that alcohol causes gender-based violence. We know that alcohol contributes to road carnage. We know that alcohol contributes to various health challenges, including cancers, including alcoholism, which in and on itself is a health challenge. So all those issues are important, and so we will be looking. This conference will be a convening of researchers, of policymakers, to look at what is best practice around alcohol control. So the issues of what you're raising around pricing, what is the impact of pricing, or how can we use pricing as a policy measure to control as a policy measure to control the use and abuse of alcohol. We're going to be looking at not just pricing, but also other tools that have been shown to be potent, such as looking at the availability of alcohol. In fact, in South Africa, we are seeing a lot of South Africa has got one of the biggest challenges of alcohol use. We've got an epidemic of youth drinking. We've got an epidemic of binge drinking, and so we will also be looking at what kind of measures has South Africa and indeed the global north taken or could take in addressing some of these social ills.
So you're quite right. South Africa does face a challenge related to binge drinking and associated harms as well. How does the conference, or the discussions rather, aim to address the unique issues faced by South Africans in the context of alcohol consumption?
It is a global conference, so a lot of the issues will be at a global level. But because it is hosted on South African soils, I think we do have a bigger voice, a louder voice as South Africa. And so some of the issues we'll be talking about will definitely spotlight some of the challenges, unique challenges that face South Africa, and gender-based violence is just one of them. But we also have a lot of interesting developments within the South African policy landscape in relation to alcohol. You will know that there's been issues around trying to curb underage drinking. So there are some policies that have been looking specifically at the availability of alcohol. There are some provinces that have taken the bold step of enacting laws or bylaws that try to address the issue of availability of alcohol, and also the issue of marketing and advertising of alcohol, especially marketing that targets young people. We will remember that we not so long ago had the Eyobeni Tavern issue where young people died in an alcohol outlet, and they should, first of all, they should not have been there, but they should have been better control measures, and there were a lot of bylaws that were violated. So we will be looking at that. There's also been a move to look at some of the issues around minimum unit pricing. The Western Cape province has taken a bold step and is exploring some of those issues. But there's also some lessons that we learned during COVID that relate to availability. During COVID, you will recall that we had, reduced trading hours. We had bans in the sale of alcohol during some of the, hard lockdown, level 5. And all of those things taught us something. And so there is a conversation that South Africa can certainly contribute to around availability and looking at how that impacted alcohol use within South Africa during that time.
Bongiwe, as we wrap up our conversation, the conference itself has taken a principled position to stop all alcohol organizations and associates from attending, to also create a space for discussing alcohol policy options free from industry influence. Can you elaborate on the significance of this decision and how it contributes to the integrity of policy discussions?
Issue of the industry, everybody knows that the industry's mandate is to make profits. That's not an issue up for debate. And so we are saying that for those civil society organizations, for governments, for academic institutions that are looking at alcohol policy options, working with and taking money from the industry actually presents a conflict of interest. And the conference is going to spotlight that conflict of interest. So we are saying, how can we be more aware of what kind of influence the alcohol industry has or could have on policy making, and how can we make sure that we limit the influence that they have, because they are a player, but they are also an interested player, and their interest is primarily determined by profit making. And so the theme of the conference, which is putting people before profits, actually underscores the importance of us to be aware of the power dynamic that the industry brings, and therefore to be intentional about mitigating what kind of influence they could have.
Bongiwe, a big thank you to you for giving us your time and for shedding light on the upcoming 7th Global Alcohol Policy Conference and the critical discussions around alcohol policy at both national and global levels. I mean, it's quite evident that these conversations are essential for fostering evidence-based policies that prioritize the well-being of individuals as well as communities. Of course, the discussion there being around alcohol abuse.